Hey everyone, welcome to the Pawareness podcast, and thanks for joining me. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, and also check us out at pawareness.org and on Instagram at pawareness_official. On Instagram, we are doing submissions for Pet of the Week, where you can submit your foster pet, and we'll pick one winner every month, and we'll give $200 to their choice of charity or foster. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hey everyone, welcome to today's podcast. I have Kim, the cat detective, on, and Kim's specialty is finding lost cats. And no matter what area you're in, I'm sure you've seen lost cat posters. It's such a prevalent thing. So I'm going to go ahead and let Kim introduce herself, her background, and talk about her detective business for us.
Well, all I do is lost cats. That is 100% every day, my entire focus. And I've been doing this for 8 years now. I think I'd say 6 of them I have had a partner. Here's my silent partner.
All right.
And there's his butt.
What a good looking guy.
Yeah. So he is trained to follow a cat's trail like a bloodhound would. He is a tracking cat. So he goes with me on cases of cats that snuck out, got out the door. You'd be surprised how many times cats escape when there's a pet sitter in charge.
It's happened to me. A couple of years ago. Yep.
Whoa. And sometimes pet sitter doesn't tell the person until...
This exact thing happened to me. Yep.
Yeah. Was it Beans?
It was Beans. Yep. It was Beans. And basically, I was traveled all day. I find out she had been sick. And then all of a sudden, I was starving at the time. And then all of a sudden, I find out Beans is lost right when I get back. And just this panic, just this absolute panic. Because I feel like everyone knows once you have an animal, they become part of the family. And then when they're just gone, it's just this, it's this terrible, terrible feeling. So I'm sure you deal with that on a daily basis with people.
Yeah. Everyone I work with is at their worst. They're all in panic mode and freaked out. So once in a while you get someone that's fairly calm, but I think they're just, but anyway, I lost my own cat, which is kind of what started this. And, I realized how it feels. I realized how little good information there is out there for people. I mean, I was given a bunch of stupid advice and, it's like dog advice. People who lose their cat are given things that you do for a dog, and cats aren't dogs. You have to have different techniques. So, for cats, I think 80% of what people are told to do is based on myths and superstitions.
Yeah, the litter box. That was one of the first things I found online. It was like leave your litter box out. It'll bring them back. So you're saying that was actually one of the things I was going to ask you. So you're saying, no, that does not work. It's a myth. Okay. Good to know.
I think it's a superstition. Well, it's both. It's a myth and a superstition because people put the litter box out and, part of the problem is the litter box attracts other cats into your cat's home zone, and they'll come beat your cat up or chase it away, or they'll attract raccoons. I've had a dirty litter box attract coyotes. I mean, they've got a good sense of smell too. And you don't want to blow your cat's cover. It's just, it's not worth the risk. And, the cats that do come home, people assume it was the litter box when the cat was coming home anyway. And usually that's at day 10 when the cat finally is like, I got to go home. I'm desperate. I'm so hungry. I got to go home. And because the person had a litter box out, they think that's why. I mean, they could have used a sack of potatoes and it would have worked just as well.
Yeah,
so we studied this, and it's very hard to combat something this prevalent, this kind of a myth, because it's been passed around so much.
That's probably not the only one out there when you look up cat facts. And when I lost Beans, for example, I called up. The first thing I did was I called up. I forget if it was a vet or some kind of pet organization, and they told me that cats oftentimes don't get eaten. They get lost and they can't find their way home. Is there any truth in that at all? Or do they just, I guess, I really don't know I didn't know what to make of it. I was trying to hang on to any piece of good news at the time. Yeah.
Well, I don't know who told you that, but my personal opinion is cats, they get more likely scared than lost. So they may know where home is, but they've got to cross like this scary, like obstacle course, and they don't want to risk it. They don't know that there's not some giant, monster that's going to come scoop them up. So cats generally will just hide. They go into, preservation mode, survival instinct. So short version is, I think unless the cat is old, and cats do get dementia when they get older, and then they do get confused. It's like kitty Alzheimer's. And then they're wandering around really confused. But if the cat's, still young and has its wits about it, I don't think they're wandering around lost. Dogs will just run aimlessly. They're lost. They don't have that homing instinct like cats and pigeons do. So, in my opinion, cats, let me take that back. Sometimes they will get lost because they accidentally got transported, and then they're really far away from home and they're lost. But the ones that just sneak out the door, they're usually hiding nearby. They know where they are.
Gotcha. And is there anything, what do you see when people lose their cats? What are the biggest mistakes you see on a frequent basis where you're just like, hey, whatever you do, don't do this? Is there anything like that at all that jumps out?
The two biggest are the litter box. Don't do that. And the shake walk. I call it the shake walk. People walk around shaking the treats.
I did that. I literally did everything I was supposed to not do.
Yeah, and calling. Were you calling too?
I was calling her too. Yep.
Well, I call it the Pied Piper effect, because if you're calling them, I tell people only call from home. You want to bring them home. If you're down the street and you're calling and they hear you, they're going to go away towards the sound, but you're gone by the time they get there. So you're kind of leading them all over. They never come running out and go, oh, I'm right here. Maybe, I don't know, one cat in 100 will come out when he's called. It's pretty rare.
Beans was that 1 in 100 because I was walking down the street, I was shaking the treats, and all of a sudden, it's like you said, the Pied Piper effect. This is crazy. You have this down to a T. Like there were 2 more cats that just showed up out of nowhere, and this is 3 houses down from where I was. And then all of a sudden they're hissing at me, and I'm thinking, why are cats hissing at me? I turn around, Beans is right there.
What a great story.
Yeah, but it would have been terrible if, like you said, if I would have kept going. Who knows? Because Beans came out, I could have let her. I decided to turn around and think, okay, maybe I should like post in some Facebook groups or something. But like, you're right. I could have let her clear down the road, this busy, super busy road. And that's definitely something to think about for sure.
You got some good karma, Chris.
I know. I'm so grateful.
Those 2 cats showed you where she was, right? If they hadn't hissed, you wouldn't have stopped.
No, I wouldn't have turned her. Yeah, those 2 cats. Because I'm thinking, okay, it's treats. It's treats. Why? And it's really weird for cats to hiss at me. And so I just thought, okay, this isn't adding up. And then I turn around. Sure enough, Beans was in their territory. So
that's crazy. So about how far was it from home?
We're talking 3 houses down. So I was ready to walk to the next state at that point, but it was only 3 houses down.
That's another mistake is people, well, the shake walk is bad, but they go too far. They need to comb close to home instead of trying to cover a lot of territory, because the cats usually are within 500-foot radius of home.
Now, something I'm sure some people listening are wondering too is, what's the window to where they can reach out to you if there is? There's a cat poster up the hill from me, and it's been there for probably a month or 2, and is that too late? What's the window here?
To me, the window is until you find a body. I mean, if you don't find a body, the cat's out there somewhere. I found cats after months missing, years, even 2 years missing. it depends on the person, how much they're willing to do. I mean, it will wreck your life searching for a cat. It's a lot of work, and it's hard to sleep when you know your cat's out there. I tell people at least give it 2 months. At least 2 months. It can take that long.
Okay. And like, do you think that there's anything, like, what's the chances of finding a cat down that far down the road? Does it happen? Do you see that happen in your line of work?
A couple of us, me and other pet detectives, have put together some figures, and there's a chart that shows the number of days missing and the chance of recovery, and then over the course of time how it goes down. So I don't remember the numbers offhand, but basically it's the first 6 days. If you don't find them in the first 6 days, the chances are very low. However, I personally think that just means change your tactics. That means what you were doing isn't working. You got to start thinking, okay, what else? There's 8 probabilities that could happen to a missing cat. There's 8 explanations. If you pursue every angle, then you'll find them. I mean, unless, they were killed and thrown in a dumpster or something like that. But, that's extremely rare. I do have cases where mean neighbors, usually people who feed birds, will trap a cat and dump it across town. And those are, to me, those just infuriate me, that someone thinks that's okay to do that. But it's one of the 8 possibilities.
You're not the first person to mention this bird-cat war going on. Like, I never realized that. There's these bird people that just don't like cats.
It's true.
Not saying all bird people are like that, but I mean, there's definitely this, you're not the first person to bring it up. How's that? Like, I guess, what's the landscape of that like? Is there a way can't we all just get along, I guess? Right?
Part of the issue, well, sometimes it's just, there was a case in Austin, it was this guy that was always out gardening, and he didn't like the cat from next door pooping in his yard. So he thought it was fine to trap it and take it, and he dumped it. He was, I think, Dunkin' Donuts. He wanted to go get donuts. So he just dumped the cat in the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot. I mean, he didn't even bother to go to a park. I mean, it's heartless.
That's so crazy to me, that the lack of empathy there, it just blows my mind.
I know. So one of the things I've been trained in is detecting the duper's delight. Have you heard of the micro expressions?
No, I have not.
There's certain little twitches, and this is going to be a lot harder with people wearing masks, but when you ring a doorbell and you talk to somebody and you mention the cat's missing, the immediate facial reaction, if there's any kind of nose crinkling, it shows repulsion and disgust, and it's usually someone who hates cats. So if you really watch the person when you mention the cat, you can pick up a lot of clues. You
really are the cat detective. So like, you're out here, how did you, I guess, to rewind a little bit, have you always been like that? Like, have you always been like, what did you do before this? Have you always had that just like part of you? Because I don't think everyone is built like that to be a detective. Like just having the open case, like a case could probably be open for a little while. And so just always having to work on it and stuff. Have you always been that attention to detail and everything like that? Or has this kind of honed that skill for you? I'm interested in that.
Yeah, actually both. I am really relentless. If I start on something that I care about, I just can't let it go. And sometimes, I'm up till 2 and 3 because I just can't stop. But yeah, with cats, I mean, there's a life at stake, and you gotta just kind of think about every possible angle. That's usually what I'm doing when I'm trying to fall asleep, is a certain cat case and trying to figure out, what have I not thought of? What angle could it be? Yeah.
And how does one train a cat to basically, become this like hunter cat kind of? How did that shape out? Were you inspired by something, or did you just bring him along one day and just kind of like integrate him into it? How did that work?
No, Henry was at an adoption event. Well, let me back up a little bit. I had considered getting a bloodhound. I really had, but I only wanted to do cats. There's a ton of people who are dog finders, dog rescue detectives, but there was nobody that just focused on cats, and cats really, really need detailed, specific techniques. So I decided not to get a dog, because when you take a dog out to look for a cat, it just pushes the cat further away. They run from the dog. No cat's going to let a bloodhound walk up and slobber on them.
Yeah.
So, actually having a dog would be counterproductive to finding a cat. It might give you a direction of travel, but then you're just pushing the cat even further in that direction. So I don't know, I'm trying to think whether I had thought of training a cat before I met Henry, or after I met Henry, I realized he's so much like a dog, I could train him. So Jackson Galaxy was in town. This was when I lived in Austin. And they had this whole outdoor adoption event around his appearance, right? And out on the grassy knoll, there was Henry, lounging in his purple harness, just chill as can be. He was very fat at the time.
He's like, nah, it wasn't that much.
No. Well, but he had been in a shelter for a year. He had nothing to do but sit around and eat. Anyway, he was so chill and so fearless. Dogs are walking by, kids are screaming. It was just chaos. But he was just so relaxed. So I, at the time, was doing volunteer work, the Austin shelter, just socializing cats, like clicker training, and getting them so that they would look at people when someone came into the adoption center, or put a paw up, just interact, because it increased adoption rates. So I went and got my stuff out of the truck. I got my clicker and a couple of scent articles just to try out and see if he was interested, and if he was, scent focused. And he was all over it. He was very scent focused. And that's the key. Fearless and interested in sniffing everything. Those are the two, the big things that caught my eye. And then I had to beg, but they let me take him over to an area where there weren't a bunch of people. And I hid something that smelled like a cat to see if he would be interested in finding it. So I was so blown away at how great he was. I said, can I adopt him now? And they said, no, you cannot. Like, isn't this an adoption event? Oh, no, we have to talk to our head person about, you have to apply. You have to be just the right person. And they had some really strict guidelines. And it took me a month to convince them to let me adopt. It took a letter from the vet. They wanted all the records to show that I had been a good animal caretaker. They wanted my horse's vet records. I mean, it was like adopting a child.
Wow. So that's so intense that they usually, like most adoption fairs I've been to, when it comes to the cats, that are just like, here you go, like, maybe like one little thing that you're an actual good person, but that's it. That must make him extra special. The fact that you had to go through all that.
Yeah. Well, you know what it took? She saw me on the news. I was interviewed on the news as a cat detective, and she said, all right, I saw you on the news. Come on down.
All right. Now, I know that you, over the course of you doing this over it's coming up on a decade, here in the next couple of years, you have some pretty amazing, crazy stories. Would you mind sharing some of those with us? And, just what have you seen that just jumps out to you?
God, I've seen heartbreaking, but we don't want to talk about that. I have seen, there are, when it comes to lost cats, a lot of heartbreaking stories. But let's talk about the miraculous ones.
Hopefully, like the good ones, and hopefully for you, the good outweighs the bad, right? Like hopefully it's like the good stuff, even though you are seeing a lot of bad stuff, that's like what keeps you going, I'm assuming, is probably the good stuff. So I'm sure you've seen probably some crazy stuff, some bad stuff in your time. So, but no, like, yeah, for sure. Like what are some of the good ones then? Yeah. Let's hear some of the good ones.
Let's tell about Henry finding a cat. Now this was,
yes.
This was a team effort. This was both of us. And this cat's name was Ruby, and she is an orange tabby. And it's kind of rare for, females to be orange tabbies. Those are usually males.
Okay.
Anyway, Ruby was an indoor only cat. still is. And Anne Marie's the owner. She was bringing in groceries and the cat got out. But she didn't know it until the next day when she got home from the gym and there was no Ruby. So this is, 12 hours missing. So she searched. She was in this townhome. So she searched all around. She talked to the neighbors. She put up the posters. She put out a litter box because she didn't know about me yet. But someone at the shelter suggested she call me. And I think she had been, it was probably about 4 days in. Usually people are desperate before they call me. So I took Henry over. It's like, all right, I had only had him. I had been training him maybe 3 months. So I took Henry over, and the garage was attached to the kitchen. So she was bringing groceries in. Obviously, the cat got out into the garage, right? So we started Henry right there at the threshold, that door. He sniffed all the way around the garage, but there was no Ruby. So I was like, okay, come on, let's get to work. Let's get out here in the neighborhood. So we walked all around, and he was just he was wandering around, but he didn't seem really focused. I was like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. This is not going well. Henry is not finding the cat, and he's not on a trail. So we went back in and into the garage, and I realized I was talking to Anne-Marie while Henry went under the vehicle. And he was under there a long time, and I was thinking, oh, he's sleeping. He's going to lay down and take a nap, and I can't really crawl under and get him. So I realized he'd been under there for a while, and I climbed under. She had this big, Suburban, really big SUV type thing. So I went underneath and looked around because he had been under there a while, and I found these 3 orange hairs caught on the chassis of this vehicle. It was on the skid plate, right there near the front axle. And that was enough to tell me the cat had gotten up into the chassis of that vehicle and gone for a ride. So we knew she had gone to the gym. That's the only place. She came home with her groceries, and then the next day she went to the gym. She took her own cat for a ride to the gym. So we put posters up at every turn that she made on the way to the gym, and we searched the actual gym, the parking lot, because we figured she probably stayed put until the car came to a stop and was shut off. So at the time, I thought she's probably at the gym, but someone called while we were at the gym searching and said, I saw an orange cat fall out of a vehicle in the middle of the road 4 days ago, and here's where I live. So, thank goodness she didn't get run over, but we went and searched that street where he lived, where he saw this happen. And we found her hiding in someone's garage who also had a cat. And they had, how sometimes people have the garage door up like this much so the cat can come and go. This Ruby was hiding under one of those red Craftsman tool chests. And I tell people all the time, if you can fit your fist in an area, the cat can get in there. They're like liquid. They can get in anywhere. And under this Craftsman, I have a video of it. It was only like this much space under there. But anyway, that's where she was. We finally got her out. Anne-Marie was crying. It was a beautiful reunion. And she was okay. She'd been scraped up where she hit the pavement. There were a couple of little places on her, but nothing was broken. And, Henry was right. I should not have doubted him. He went under the car and stayed there for a while because there was a lot of sniffing. So I learned a lesson on that one. You got to really watch and trust your cat.
Wow. That's so amazing. Nice.
So team effort.
Wow. Henry out here is saving lives. And you are too. That's so crazy. What a beautiful story though. The fact that this cat literally went on a ride and you guys found her, somewhere between the home and the gym. That's bizarre.
You know what? People don't realize that this happens a lot. Cats will get, the way that SUVs are built, this splash shield is, supposedly in case your SUV, you're going out into rugged terrain, you don't want to kick rocks up into your engine. And it's this platform. It's perfect size for a cat. They get up on that. Nothing's moving. It doesn't get hot. And it's just this little cat cave. And almost all SUVs and trucks have this. So I think a lot of cats are getting transported and people don't realize it. They spend all their time looking near their house when the cat's across town.
Wow. That's crazy.
Again, it's a theory.
I never would have thought of it. And this is why it's always great to consult a professional. I know if something happened to Beans, I know who I'm calling. So I'm a big fan of just entrepreneurs and just like solving problems. I just love that. And the fact is, you know, you're doing what you're doing and you're out here solving problems. You also have, it's some kind of special collar that you're making. Can you talk to us about that just to help? It helps with lost cats, right?
Yes. Well, hopefully prevents lost cats.
Prevents lost cats. Exactly. Yep.
I originally made it for Henry because when he went on a case with me, he would go, you know, under sheds and in dark garages where, you know, I couldn't get behind this pile of boxes, but he could. So I needed, or under bushes, for example, I needed to see where he was at all times. So I wanted a lighted collar that was lit all the way around. So, you know, even from above, you could see him. And then I also wanted a camera so I could see what he was seeing. You know, I can tell his body language when he finds a cat, but I have to be able to see him. If he goes under a shed and comes back out, I don't know if he saw the cat or not. So I have to look at a camera. Let me show you the collar. This is the camera right here, this part, and you click it to light it up. So it's got a little battery, like a watch battery inside. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Because it's not dark.
I can definitely see it. It's lighting up for sure. You just press that button and then it lights up. Okay.
Yeah, and then it also has this reflective border. So even if you forget to turn it on, it catches light. It's kind of a silver type of color. But
awesome.
This was the first part, and then I added the camera. And then I made a new one. This one is for bling.
That's great.
This one is more if you just want your cat lit up at night so that you see where they are. Like if you want to go to bed and your cat's not coming in, you can see exactly where they are. But it has these little, I put this little bird. This is what scares birds, these holograms. So this way the cat, this is on top of their neck. So the bird can see the cat and the bird doesn't get ambushed. This is why all the bird people are all up against cats because, the cats are killing so many birds. So this is so the birds can see the cat coming and get away. But you know, buildings kill more birds than cats do. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but I mean, it makes sense though. It definitely makes sense. So, I mean, but there you are combating that problem so that now the cats won't get the birds. Perfect.
That's my hope. Yeah, this hasn't come out yet. I just got a patent on it. But this one's got double bird so that even if the collar, this is the battery, so it's always going to be on the bottom. And then the top is glow in the dark. The buckles glow in the dark. And then this has got all the little bird scare stuff on it. So yeah, I mean, people are going to vilify cats and the bird people especially. And I want, you know, some cats, we should probably edit this out, but some cats need to go out. I mean, they're just miserable if they don't. And they'll spray the curtains and the wall because, you know, there's other cats coming around usually. But all of this was kind of made for Henry. Then I added the bird scare so that people who are getting a bunch of shit from their neighbors about letting their cat out can say, oh no, the birds are safe. I put this collar on my cat. So you don't have to worry about my cat catching your birds.
And I know Beans is that way where she loves being outside. And so, you know, luckily I work from home, so I can just put her on this little tether. She's like right out my window. I can see her. And, you know, yeah, and it's great, but not everyone has that setup. And, you know, this is I feel like a great solution to that problem where they still can, experience the outdoors, like you said, and not just be an indoor cat. So that's great. I mean, I think that's fantastic. And where can people, like once that final, I know that you said it's not out yet, but whenever they can, is that just on your website then?
It is on my website, but I have a separate website for GlowTrack. It's GlowTrack collars. And
okay.
these are accessories like the camera, and then on top is this is a tracking device. I don't know if you can see it, but
Yep.
it's on top so that it has access to the sky. A lot of people have tracking devices that hang under the cat, and if the cat's under something, GPS and global satellites can't access it. So this is RF, which I think is better for cats. GPS is good for dogs, but you need RF for cats. So yeah, and then this has got the bird scare on top too. So to me, it covers everything. Oh, and also you can put, another good thing about it is you can put their name really big. You know how cats won't let strangers pick them up?
Yep.
So you can actually I put letters on, Henry, and phone number. And that way, when the cat is out and somebody's worried about them, they can see the phone number without having to pick them up and look at a little tag.
Yeah, that's so true. When it comes to cats, they just most of them never let you get close enough to actually, usually there's definitely a distance there for sure.
Yeah, even the owner sometimes can't pick their cat up outdoors.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've experienced. Yeah, they know that they're about to get taken back inside. Yeah, it's happened to Beans a couple of times. I would be lying if I said it didn't. Where she'll just escape, and then I have to go get her, and then the more I chase her, the more she wants to run, and she thinks I don't know if she thinks it's some kind of game or what, but yeah, no, that's great though. I mean,
or she doesn't want to go in,
or she just doesn't want to go in.
Sometimes it's better, instead of trying to sneak up and pick them up and chase them, just open up a can of tuna and sit down and just have them come to you.
Okay.
Sit by the door.
I will try that next time. I will try that. And here's something too, right? That I feel like it's the shoe on the other foot, so to speak, is what if you come across a cat? This has happened to me before, and I know I didn't handle it right. What if you come across a cat that appears to be lost? Or what happened to me was this friendly cat walked up, and I thought it was just this friendly neighborhood cat and super well fed, super friendly. I knew the lady next door had these cats, and then it made me sick. 4 days later, I find out that this cat's missing, and I saw it on the day that I didn't know what to do. So how could have I handled that better? And, it makes me feel sick that I'm the last person that saw this missing cat. What should I have done?
All right. Well, first of all, Chris, she should have gotten the word out so that you knew when you saw the cat. It's not your fault. You didn't know yet that the cat was missing. A lot of people, I think it's like 35 or 37% of people who own cats say, oh, just showed up one day. And they take the cat in and they don't realize that's someone else's cat. That's a lost or a stray cat that you just took. Or it followed me home. Well, it probably was really hungry because it's lost. That's a huge amount of cats. 37% of 10 million is a lot of cats.
Yeah.
So, or is it 100 million? I think it's 100 million. Anyway.
Wow.
So, this happens all the time, and people just think, oh, that's a friendly cat. So you didn't do anything wrong. What you might have done is looked for a collar. And anytime someone sees a cat that they don't normally see in their day, it is a good thing to at least check for a collar and take a picture. Every case I've ever had, there's always at least one false sighting where somebody says, I know it was your cat. I'm 100% sure it was your cat, and it wasn't. A lot of times it's not even the same color. But, not everyone can just scoop the cat up and keep it in case it's someone's lost cat. I carry a microchip scanner in my car. And if I see any cat that's out and about, I try to scan it. The problem is you have to get up really close and pretty much touch their shoulders to find a microchip. And a lot of cats won't let you do that. So generally what I tell people to do or beg people to do is take a picture of the cat and put up a found sign, just somewhere nearby, in your yard, at the end of your street, somewhere like that. And that way, at least the person isn't looking way across town or 5 blocks down, and they at least know the area where the cat was seen. That would have increased the chances. Do you remember what time of year it was?
Probably like 3 months ago. And what happened was, I took a picture and a video actually, And I'm a member of the Nextdoor. It's like I don't want to say it's an app, but like also a desktop feature as well. And I subscribe to all of the missing pet photo or pet things. So like it's just, just to see if I can help. And one of them was this missing cat. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I recognize this cat. And I messaged the lady, this is 4 days later. And I say, hey, I think I found your cat on the day you're saying you last saw her. And turns out it was 2 houses further down. And as far as I know, the posters are still there. And, that was, if I would have known about you at the time, I would have definitely recommended them to you, because that's something else I was going to ask you about is you don't just do people in your area, right? I know that you mentioned, Henry is your tool. You also help people that aren't in your area, right?
Yeah, I coach people. I analyze the situation. I get a profile on the cat. I do cat profiling. And then, you just got to get a ton of details to figure it out. It's like solving a mystery, just long distance. I have found cats in 17 countries. And
Oh my gosh.
probably every state. Alaska. I'm not sure about Hawaii. But yeah, and this is over 8 years' time. But, I also have a book, an ebook and a video. The book is, telling people all the tactics that I use, tricks and tips. And then the video is showing them how I track cats, the gear that I use, what kind of gear helps you find them. It's kind of like a show and tell. So they have both. But yeah, a lot of the cats that I found are people that write to me and say, I downloaded your materials and I found my cat. After a month, I found my cat. Thank you. And that feels so good to know.
Oh, that is so amazing. That has to be so rewarding. I can only imagine.
It is. Especially when they send a picture or a video and I can actually see the cat that I helped.
A picture is and video are worth 1,000 words for sure. Yeah. How does someone get this ebook and your video training? I know you mentioned a site earlier, but where can they reach out to you at?
Lost Cat Finder. I think it's on my shirt here.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, lostcatfinder.com. It has the collars, it has the video, it has the booklet. And, it also has a ton of reunion stories. Even if your cat's not lost, the stories and the reunions and the testimonials are really, really nice.
And are you on social media at all? Facebook, Instagram, anything like that they can reach out to you on as well?
Yeah, I wish I wasn't. It would be nice if people really just pick one.
Just pick one.
Yeah, it's all the same. It's Facebook is Lost Cat Finder. Instagram is Lost Cat Finder. I don't really understand Instagram, honestly. So I think I've got like 5 pictures, mostly of Henry.
That's great. There's so many social media platforms out there. It's like pick a couple, and that's kind of how we are. It's just like really just Instagram, and Facebook is getting some traction as well right now, which I really don't understand how, but it's happening. So, but no, all the links will be in whatever medium you're listening on will be in the description below, so you can check him out.
Also TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok is a thing. Pawareness is not on. It's like the only thing it's not on right now. So, but but it is definitely a popular medium for sure.
Henry is on TikTok as Cat with a Camera. That's Henry.
Okay, well, Henry, that's going to be in the description below now too. So if you have a TikTok, definitely check Henry out. And I feel like we all could use more Henry in our lives. So he looks like a fun guy.
He's been going on basket rides on my bike lately.
I have to ask, how did you train him to do that? Did you just one day like, Henry, you're going in this basket? How did that work?
Well, I will admit there were treats involved the first time.
Okay, treats.
So extra fun for him, but he was into it. I put a camera so I could watch what he's doing and not miss the road. But, he's just like looking around, and sometimes squirrels will run across the road, and he seems to really enjoy it.
Beans has a stroller, and she loves sitting in the stroller and looking at everything. It's always fun for her too.
Same deal. You don't really have to train them. They just either they like it or they don't.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, it's been great having you on. I learned so much. I know that a lot of the listeners did as well. And everyone, if you ever have a lost cat, Kim is the person you need to talk to. So all our stuff is in the description below. Kim, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
You are so welcome. You ask really good questions.
Thank you so much. I love learning, and there's always, you're one question away from, who knows, like changing potentially a life or anything like that. So I love asking questions for sure. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on.
All right. Thank you. We look forward to talking again for sure. Take care.